"Hey," Owen said softly as he stepped up beside her, uncertain of how to start a conversation without breaking his cover. "I'm Ray. You doing okay?" She didn't look up. Her focus remained on the tomato in front of her, the blade of her knife moving with a tired but practiced rhythm. "Yeah," she replied, her voice barely audible, breath shallow. "Just didn't get a break yesterday, or the day before. We're always understaffed." There was something in the way she said it, not with frustration, not even with anger, just resignation, like someone who had said it too many times to too many people who never did anything about it. Owen's brow furrowed. "Why's that?" She hesitated, and for a moment her hands slowed just enough to betray her exhaustion. A flicker of fear passed through her expression. Or was it simply the weariness of having to answer the same question again, only to watch it go ignored? She shrugged, keeping her eyes on the task in front of her. "People quit a lot," she said. "Some say Marcus is hard to deal with. I'm just trying to hang on till I graduate." And then she went back to slicing, as if that was all there was to say, as if hope wasn't part of the job anymore, just endurance. Owen watched her closely. There was a quiet precision to everything she did. She didn't just move fast, she moved with purpose. She checked expiration dates without being asked, wiped down surfaces automatically, and fixed other people's mistakes without hesitation. There was no sense of recognition in her movements. No one was watching her, and she knew it. She didn't work that hard for praise. She worked that hard because she refused to lower her own standards, even when everything around her had. But behind that drive, Owen could see the cracks. Her uniform was drenched with sweat. Her eyes were rimmed with fatigue. Her movements, though precise, had the stiffness of someone pushing through the last fumes of adrenaline. She wasn't just tired, she was running herself into the ground. By midday, the store was chaos. The line stretched out the door. 2 employees had called in sick. Marcus was nowhere to be found. Anna, this unstoppable force in a body nearly running on empty, managed the grill, the register, and every mess in between without once complaining. Owen helped where he could. He chopped vegetables, bagged orders, cleaned counters. But the truth hit him harder with every passing minute. Even with his years of experience, he couldn't keep up with the tempo Anna had built out of desperation. And then, just after 2, she faltered. He saw it the moment her knees bent slightly, her hand resting on the prep table to steady herself. Her fingers trembled. Her chest rose and fell in rapid, shallow breaths. "Hey," Owen said quickly, moving to her side. "You need a break. Sit down, now." And in that moment, Owen froze. Not because he didn't know what to do, but because the shame hit him like a wave. Shame not from what he was seeing, but from the sudden awareness of how many more Annas there might be. Across 6 locations, across 70 names on payroll, how many were keeping his dream afloat while slowly drowning under it? These people weren't asking for pity. They didn't want handouts. They needed to be seen, protected, respected. And right then, Owen made a quiet vow. He wouldn't look away again. Anna trembled slightly. Sweat matted her hair to her forehead, and even though her body was clearly on the edge of collapse, her hands kept scrubbing the stainless steel prep table in front of her. Like muscle memory was the only thing keeping her upright. Her mind was already drifting, her strength running low. Owen quickly stepped to the back, grabbed a cold bottle of water from the fridge and returned to her side. His voice was soft but firm, full of quiet urgency. "Here, drink this, please." She looked up at him as if someone had finally seen her, really seen her, for the first time all week, like he hadn't just handed her a bottle of water, but a lifeline. "Thank you," she whispered, taking a slow, cautious sip, as though even the smallest movement might shatter the fragile moment between them. At that exact moment, Marcus walked out from the back, phone in hand, eyes glazed with distraction. He didn't even glance in Anna's direction. Instead, he turned to another employee and chuckled with cruel amusement. "You should have seen her earlier," he snorted. "She was crawling around like some old granny. I almost handed her a walker. Seriously, how does someone that slow still have a job here?" Owen watched as Anna's shoulders tensed instantly. She didn't flinch, didn't look up, didn't say a word, but her entire body seemed to recoil inward. She'd clearly heard it all before. Marcus finally noticed her nearby. "Oh, hey, speedster," he said with a mocking grin. "Break's over. Back to work." Anna said nothing. She simply set the bottle of water down with a quiet thud, turned and walked back to the grill without a word, her face blank, her movements automatic, like someone who'd long ago stopped expecting fairness. Owen clenched his jaw so tight he thought it might crack. Every instinct in him screamed to speak out, to shut Marcus down in front of the staff. But not yet. Not here. Not until he saw the whole picture. How deep the damage went. That evening, Anna looked like she was surviving on sheer willpower. When Owen offered to walk her to the bus stop, she hesitated, then shook her head slightly. "You don't have to," she said softly. "I want to," Owen replied. They sat together on a long bench, surrounded by the thick, heavy quiet of a day that had taken too much from both of them. The breeze stirred, but neither moved. "Well, do you stay here?" he asked, gently. She stared out toward the road, voice drifting like a leaf caught in the wind. "My mom's really sick. I send most of my pay home, and I'm still taking classes online. 2 more semesters and I'm done." Owen didn't say anything for a long moment. The woman sitting beside him wasn't just exhausted. She was carrying her entire world on her back. She wasn't just an overworked employee. She was a daughter, a student, a survivor, doing everything in her power to hold things together. "You're one of the hardest working people I've ever seen," he said sincerely. She gave him a tired smile. Thin, like paper, but real. "Thanks, Ray. That actually means a lot." That night, Owen didn't sleep. Not out of anger. Out of shame. Shame that the company he'd built from nothing had become a place where people like Anna were allowed to break. In silence. Somewhere along the way, the mission had gotten lost. The next morning, he came back early, still disguised as Ray, but this time he had a mission. He started in the walk-in fridge. What he found left little room for interpretation. Chaos. Ingredients without labels. Wilted produce, expired cheese still being used. He documented everything. And Marcus? He spent nearly the entire morning in the back office, glued to his phone. When he did finally come out, it was to bark orders or make uncomfortable comments to Kara, the cashier, who clearly wanted nothing to do with him. Anna kept working. If anything, she looked even worse than the day before. At one point, as she bent to clean the counter, Marcus walked past and muttered to another worker, "She always looks like she's about to pass out. Might be time to find someone new." Owen's fists curled tight. That was enough. He'd seen all he needed. On Saturday morning, Owen returned. This time, no fake name, no dyed hair, no disguise. He walked into the store under the full glare of morning sun, every step carrying the weight of his true identity. Marcus spotted him instantly. His face shifted, the fake smile appeared almost on instinct, but the darting eyes gave him away. "Everyone, gather at the front by the register," Owen said, calm but commanding. Staff slowly emerged, some confused. Anna had just clocked in. She froze when she saw him. "That's him," someone whispered from the back. Owen turned to face them all. "For the last 2 days," he began, "I've been working right here beside you. None of you knew who I was. That was on purpose." No one said a word. They didn't need to. The silence was thick, filled with unspoken hope and the weight of long overdue truth. What I saw here doesn't reflect anything this company stands for, Owen said firmly, voice cutting through the thick silence. I saw people on the edge of collapse, mocked while pushing themselves past their limits. I saw food being handled in unsafe conditions. I saw a manager who spent more time on his phone than with the team he was supposed to lead. And I heard things, words no one should ever have to hear, especially not from the person entrusted to guide them. Marcus forced a chuckle. I don't know what kind of performance this is, but... Stop talking, Owen cut in, eyes locked on him. Then he turned to Anna. You never complained. Never asked for anything. You just kept showing up, doing more than anyone should have to. But that's not strength. That's survival. And we are not going to make survival part of anyone's job description. Anna said nothing. Her arms hung at her sides, apron still stained with yesterday's sweat, as if she were bracing for the floor to give way beneath her. Owen turned back to Marcus. Hand me your keys. Marcus opened his mouth, shut it, then opened it again. You're firing me over 2 days of dress-up? No, Owen replied, his voice steady. I'm holding you accountable for months of neglect, cruelty, and absence. 2 hours was enough to see it. 2 days only confirmed it. Marcus didn't argue again. He pulled off his lanyard and dropped it on the counter. No one clapped. Not because they weren't relieved, but because for the first time in weeks, someone had finally opened a window in a room they'd been suffocating in. Owen walked into the office, grabbed a clipboard, and came back out. Kyra, he called. As she looked up, you're listed as part-time, but you've been working over 35 hours a week, right? Yes, she nodded. He said full-time wasn't in the budget. Ends today. You're full-time starting now. He turned to someone else. Darren, right? Yes. You used to do HVAC work with your uncle. I did. Why? Next week, you're taking a paid day off to help our corporate team fix the walk-in fridge at Eastgate. We'll cover travel, too. I saw you fix the sandwich press with a shoelace and a paper clip. You're wasted on register. He didn't wait for a response. Instead, he headed toward the back hallway and gently pulled Anna aside. I don't know where you found the strength to keep coming back every day, he said. But I do know how lucky I am that you stayed. Anna shook her head, her eyes beginning to gloss over. I didn't expect this. We're covering your next 2 months of pay. Take the time. Rest. Finish those last few classes. And when you're ready, if you want it, there's a position waiting at headquarters in the employee training division. Her voice caught. Why me? Because I watched you hold this place together, Owen said, emotion thickening in his throat, even while you were falling apart. Because I saw you being treated like you didn't exist. Anna turned away, blinking hard. Her eyes welled, but she didn't let the tears fall. I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything, Holland replied softly. Just know this. What happened here won't happen again. I won't let it. As he walked back toward the storeroom, Owen paused beside a forgotten employee suggestion box, shoved behind a crate of napkins and covered in dust. He ripped it open and pulled out the top card. Reading it aloud, he said, Can we please get fans installed in the prep area? It's too hot to think straight. Dated 5 months ago. He looked up at the staff still standing quietly nearby. We'll have portable units here tomorrow. Permanent ventilation gets installed next week. No one cheered. No one cried. But something shifted. Shoulders straightened. Eyes met his a little longer. Trust doesn't come from speeches. It comes from showing up again and again and doing what you say you will. For the rest of the afternoon, Owen made his way through the store. He checked shelves, took inventory, spoke privately with each employee. No judgment, just listening. just taking notes. When he left, there was no big send-off, no closing speech, just a quiet nod and a single promise. "I'll be back." In the parking lot, he turned and looked at the store one more time. It wasn't fixed. Not yet. But the silence he'd walked into 2 days ago had been broken. And sometimes change begins with nothing more than that. On Monday morning, Owen returned to the Southgate store while it was still dark out. The streets were quiet, the streetlights still flickering. He unlocked the front door, slipped off his coat, and stepped into the still space, the faint scent of bleach lingering from the late-night cleaning crew. He didn't come alone. 2 members of the corporate operations team followed him inside, each carrying a clipboard. Owen pointed toward the back. "Start with the walk-in," he said. "I want every expiration date, temperature log, and delivery schedule checked. Anything that's off, documented." They nodded and disappeared through the double doors. Owen walked over to a booth by the front window and sat down. On the table in front of him, a blank notebook, a black pen, and a sealed envelope containing a new hire offer. At 6:45, Anna walked in. She stopped cold when she saw him. The door behind her hadn't even closed yet. "You came back," she said quietly. "I told you I would." She walked over slowly, cautiously. "I figured you'd just send someone else to check in." "I'm not like most people," Owen replied with a soft smile. "Have a seat." She sat across from him, eyeing the envelope on the table. "What's this?" He slid it toward her. "A new position. Corporate support. Customer experience division. Flexible hours. Remote if you need it. On-site if you want. Salary, benefits, relocation assistance. It's all in there." Anna stared at the envelope but didn't open it. "I don't know what to say." "Say yes. Or say, you need more time. Either answer's fine." She tapped the corner of the envelope lightly with her fingertip. "If I take this, what about the others? They've been through the same things I have. You're not leaving them behind," Owen said gently. "You're leading from a position that gives you more power to make a difference." Anna nodded slowly, like a part of her was finally starting to believe it. "Then, if I take the next step, I want to know someone strong is stepping in behind me." "I spoke to Kyra yesterday," Owen said. "She's stepping in as interim floor lead. She's sharp, steady, and knows how to keep the team grounded." A real smile crossed Anna's face, the first one he'd seen in days. "She's good. Quiet but solid. I noticed." They both stood. Owen glanced at the clock. "I need to talk to the team. Want to stay?" Anya hesitated. "I'd rather just listen, from the back." By 7:15, the team began arriving. There was no music playing, no chatter, but the energy had shifted. They didn't walk in like they were bracing for impact. They looked more alert, more present. When they saw Owen near the time clock, a few even straightened up. He waited until everyone had clocked in, then stepped forward. "I'll keep this short," he began. "A lot of you have heard promises before, things that were supposed to change but didn't. So today, I'm not giving you promises. I'm giving you facts about what's already happening. We've hired an outside HR team. Each of you will have a private one-on-one interview. You'll be paid for your time. We need to understand what's been happening that we didn't see." A voice from the back spoke up. "And what happens if someone says something bad? Are they getting written up?" Owen shook his head. "No, that's exactly why we brought in a third party, to make sure it's safe to speak up." He continued. 2 of you will be selected to join our internal advisory board. It's not a title, it's a responsibility. You'll meet directly with leadership each quarter. No filter, no spin, just truth." He paused, then added, "We're also overhauling shift scheduling. No more double shifts back to back. No more last-minute changes without approval. Starting this week, you'll have a say in your own schedule." A hand went up. "Darren, what about pay? A lot of us are long overdue for raises." Owen nodded. "We've already started reviewing that. By the end of this month, everyone's pay will be adjusted to current market rates, and we're applying it retroactively." He opened the door to the back office. "Corporate's here today, not hiding behind meetings. We're on the floor with you. If you've got something to say, say it." No one rushed in, but this time the hesitation wasn't fear. It was a quiet test of trust, a silent, shared question. Is this real? By midday, Owen was behind the counter with Darren, restocking the bread shelf. "You ever think about being a trainer?" Owen asked. Darren shrugged. "I'm not really much of a talker." "You don't need to be polished, you just need to be honest." Darren looked up. "Then yeah, I could do that." "We'll talk more this week," Owen said. And he meant it. Early in the afternoon, a woman in her 40s walked in, wearing a maintenance uniform with the company logo stitched on her chest. "I'm here to fix the window." Owen smiled. "Finally. That thing's been cracked since last summer." She inspected the glass and shook her head. "Someone tried to patch it, used the wrong adhesive. And to be Marcus," Owen said dryly. They both chuckled. By the end of the day, employees took turns attending private HR interviews. No one was forced. Everyone was paid for their time. Owen didn't sit in. That wasn't his place. Instead, he sat across from Kyra at a side table. "I want to take the lead shift," she said, "but only if I can change how we bring in new hires. They keep quitting during their first week." "What would you change?" Owen asked. "Give them 3 days of structured training, clear checklists. If they meet the standard, we keep them. If not, we don't waste anyone's time." "Write it up," Owen said. "You've got my support." Outside, the sun was dipping behind the buildings across the street. The store had settled into a steady rhythm. It wasn't joyful, not yet, but it was stable. Anna emerged from the back hallway, now in jeans and a jacket. She looked ready to head out, but paused near Owen. "The training position, were you serious?" "Every word." "I'll take it," she said, "but I want to come back here once a month." "You won't need to do that forever." "I know, but for now, I want to." He nodded. "Then you will." She left without fanfare. No applause, no grand goodbye. Just a quiet exit through the same door she'd walked through 100 times before. Except this time, everything had changed. Owen stayed until close. He walked the store with the night shift, checking the new prep labels, asking questions without hidden agendas. He didn't say much, and he didn't need to. The next morning, he'd be at another store. Not undercover this time, just listening. 2 weeks later, Owen stood on the 6th floor of corporate headquarters, staring through rain-streaked glass. Below, traffic crept down the avenue. He hadn't been back in this office since the week he went undercover. The air felt different now, not just because of what he'd seen, but because of what it demanded of him. The door behind him clicked open. "Your 9:30 is here," his assistant said, stepping aside to let in a tall man in a navy peacoat, holding a thick folder and a dripping umbrella. "Come in, Paul," Owen said. "Let's talk." Paul, the new interim district lead overseeing Southgate and 3 nearby locations, stepped in. A new chapter was beginning. Paul had been with the company for 6 years, mostly in logistics. He only accepted the role after Owen made one thing clear: we're rebuilding everything from the ground up, and Paul believed him. They sat across from each other at the square table near the window. No small talk. Owen got straight to the point. "What are you seeing?" Paul opened the folder and laid out a detailed schedule. "Southgate has stabilized. Absentee rates are down. Customer wait times have been cut almost in half. Kyra's rolling out a new orientation model for new hires. Feedback has been strong." "Any resistance?" Owen asked, eyes steady. There was one former shift lead, walked out after refusing to follow the new time-off policy. How did Kata handle it? She didn't chase him, covered the shift herself and documented the incident, told the team she'd rather be short-staffed than undermined. Owen nodded once. She's right. All flipped to the next page. Anna's in internal training this week. She's building out a new training module and asked to pilot it next month. She'll have that chance. All hesitated, then slid a paper across the table. There's one more thing. The HR audit you signed off on? It uncovered a pattern. At least 4 locations were exploiting the same loophole, pushing staff into overtime without reporting it. The same trick Marcus used. Exactly. How long has it been going on? Some cases go back over a year. How many employees? Pleasing across 4 different stores. Owen stood and walked over to the window. He pressed both palms against the cool glass, watching the slow trickle of traffic below. We start with restitution, he said. Full back pay. Quietly but transparently. Each employee deserves a one-on-one explanation. No excuses. No legal speak. They'll ask what happens next, Paul said. They'll get a letter from me and from the managers involved. 2 have already been removed. 2 more are under review. We'll move fast, Paul assured him. Good. After that, I want a full policy overhaul. Clear language, no more gray areas. If it's not specific, we rewrite it. Paul nodded, understanding. When he left, Owen remained at the window. He didn't feel satisfied. What he felt was clarity. This wasn't about saving face. It was about rebuilding trust with people who had never been given a reason to trust in the first place. That afternoon, Owen drove to a small training center on the city's edge. It was a modest building, usually used for quarterly manager meetings, but today it hosted something different. Inside, 13 employees from various locations sat in a circle of folding chairs. Some wore uniforms, others plain t-shirts. At the front hung a handwritten sign that read, "Employee Dialogue, Listening, Not Leading." Owen entered quietly and took a seat at the back of the room. A woman in her 50s, arms crossed, was speaking. You want to know what's broken? It's not just bad management. It's the silence. People stopped speaking up because no one listens. Another younger voice chimed in. Someone quit mid-shift last month, just walked out. Nobody even asked why. Owen didn't respond, didn't take notes. He just listened and let their words land where they needed to, heavy and uncomfortable, but necessary. When the session ended, Owen was the last to stand. One employee lingered, tall, glasses, probably mid-20s. He hesitated, then approached. You're Owen, right? I don't need anything, he said. I just wanted to say. I used to think the higher-ups didn't care. Then I heard what happened at Southgate. Owen looked at the chairs, slightly out of place from the group that had just left. That store reminded me why I started this company, he said. When the numbers grow, it's easy to forget the people behind them. The young man gave a single nod and quietly left. That night, Owen got home late. The kitchen was dim. He poured a glass of water, leaned against the sink, and stared into the quiet. And his face flashed through his mind. The moment she accepted her new role, the dusty suggestion box, the cracked window, the silence after Marcus's cruel jokes. It all still lingered. He opened his laptop at the kitchen table and began to type. The next morning, every employee in the company, from storefronts to warehouses to office desks, received an email. Subject line, from Owen. The message read, Recently, I made a decision to stop receiving filtered updates. Starting today, every store will have a direct line to corporate. No approvals needed, no hierarchy required. You'll be heard, and you'll get a response. If you see something broken, speak up. If you have an idea, share it. If someone is being mistreated, report it. If you've ever thought no one cared, remember this. I had to go undercover to realize I'd lost sight of what matters. I won't let that happen again. You deserve better, and we'll build it together. When time passed, the company didn't transform overnight, but it started to shift. At Southgate, Kyra launched her 3-day onboarding program. New hires weren't just tossed a shirt and told to follow someone. They were properly trained. Turnover was cut in half. She was offered a long-term leadership role by corporate. She asked to stay local. The company said yes. Anna held her first official training session at a regional location. The feedback was overwhelmingly positive. She was asked to expand the program into 2 additional departments. She agreed and quietly set up a rideshare service so she could visit her mother every weekend. Darren submitted a proposal for a technician development program. He didn't ask for a raise, just tools and a schedule. The toolkit arrived the following week. At other locations, the changes began to echo outward, some faster than others. But this time, the culture wasn't trickling down from the top. It was radiating from within, connected, intentional. Owen continued visiting stores. No more disguises, no announcements. He just showed up, rolled up his sleeves, and asked the same question every time. What do you need that you don't have? He never got the same answer twice, and that was the point. This company didn't need a savior. It needed a listener. Someone who didn't flinch when the truth was ugly. A leader who showed up when things were quiet, not just when they were loud. Owen didn't fix everything. He just stopped pretending everything was fine. And sometimes, that's enough to begin again.